But at the same time, I know a lot of people enjoy like a beer or a cocktail or something just to get them through, especially Magic Kingdom, which has
a little THC gummy.
A little THC gummy, which was super fun.
Welcome to another episode of Out Loud
and Laughing.
Get ready.
I'm Bryan
and Jon, two gay cousins having big talks and even bigger laughs. Join us. Let's see what they're up to. It's Out Loud and Laughing.
Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud and
Laughing!
And today we are going to be discussing...
Drum roll.
I was looking through my phone.
Okay.
And...
Oh gosh, this could be scary.
Yeah, this topic can go
Where are we going with this, Bryan?
3 weeks ago, we went to...
We
Disney.
took the kids for the first time to
Disney. So, as you guys know, I have a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old. And we flew down for the holidays. And so we decided to spend one day driving up to Disney. Jon lives in St. Pete, so he's not too far from Disney. He's also a Disney...
I worked at Disney.
Yes, you worked at Disney.
I love Disney.
You're at Disney.
Yeah, but I'm not one of those weird Disney adults. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
I don't stand in line for popcorn buckets. I'm not collecting other
Hide your Mickey Mouse tattoo right now.
Sorry. Just kidding. I don't have a Mickey Mouse tattoo. It's the size of a freckle, though.
Yeah. So we took the kids to Magic Kingdom for the first time for only one day because we didn't want to overdo ourselves. But I want to talk a little bit about that because it was such a fun day. But then also, I wanted to give some background on like how Disney kind of raised us.
I think that's a very good point. It was a wonderful time. And we also did Disney a lot growing up.
We did Disney a lot
growing up. It did kind of raise us. That's a good point.
It definitely raised us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, our parents took us there because they didn't have to worry about us.
Until they lost your sister in the crowd.
Don't walk away. Never walk away from, if you have children and you take them to Disney World, honestly, okay, first of all, do not put them on a leash. You will be scoffed at. You won't hear it, but people are scoffing. Straight up. But don't lose your children. Like, come on. That's like...
I mean, I think that's a good life lesson outside of just taking your kids to Disney. But
start at Disney, and then in the real world, don't lose your children.
But we took the kids to Disney, so it was great. We took me, my husband, the 2 kids, my parents,
mom and dad,
and then you and your sister.
My aunt and uncle.
Yeah, you and your sister.
And my sister came as well.
And so we stayed at Airbnb because we needed like a bigger space.
Which is like a new thing. Like all of that housing is fantastic.
We went to Magic Kingdom for the day.
Bright and early.
And
we not only brought our kids, we brought our dogs as well, who also had a Disney day.
Fair. They went to Disney doggy camp.
Whatever.
So growing up with Disney, it was very much like you buy your ticket, you go to the rides you want to go to, you wait in line, and you go on your rides, eat a little bit of food, and you leave. I pride myself on being very tech savvy. Guys, this is a whole new level now of what happens at Disney. You are attached to your phone all day.
All day long. If you are fortunate enough to access the Lightning Lane program, and even if not, and we can go into this, I don't even think we should, but like it's a lot. There's some really great resources out there, some other good bloggers and video bloggers who are giving you lots of resources. My favorite
You don't work for Disney anymore.
I know I don't. Well, great. So don't go to Disney directly. No, honestly, Disney Food Blog on YouTube, fantastic channel, one of my favorites, and they're always up to date, always releasing new content. I suggest if you're planning for a first trip to Disney to watch them
or hire someone.
You're literally on your phone all day long.
So that's why I'm going to interrupt him, because you have to hire someone, but it's better to hire someone close to you. So Adam, myself, and the kids just showed up with my parents. Jon showed up with his phone, and he already had all of our reservations for the upcoming rides in the morning. And we were like, what are reservations? He's like, don't worry, I got it covered. And every single ride we went to, we just walked to the front of the line, and we just went on it with the kids, which was super exciting because having a 3 to 5-year-old at any sort of theme park, really having a 3 to 5-year-old outside of the house.
And to be honest, my 3 to 5-year-old comes out too when I have to stand in an hour line.
Well, and like
every line.
Yeah, and truth be told, a lot of these rides, like, they're cute. They had nostalgia. But to wait over an hour for some of these things?
No.
So anyways, Jon was our one that he was like our captain with his clipboard all day. And then his sister also has an annual pass, also Disney fan. pay to, you know those people that when you walk into an amusement park, mainly Disney, they're like, let me take your picture, and you're like, I don't want to pay for that, I don't want to do it. Carolyn's pass allowed for free pictures, so every time they took a picture of us, it uploaded into the app. So we actively stopped every single photographer because we were like, take our picture, it'll be professional and we don't have to pay for it.
Don't have to pay for it. It's professional, and you're guaranteed to get a photo of your child crying. I mean, if that's what you want, no, I'm just joking. They do a great job. They do a great job. The photo pass you could add to the app as well. Unfortunately, now Disney, which I don't remember growing up, they have commoditized everything, right? So from pictures to line waiting to, they now do they have their own Uber service called the Mini Cars. They're like Minnie Mouse, and they basically like have taken over Uber within their own property. I don't know if you know this.
This is where he goes, guys. I'm telling you, I'm Disney obsessed. We're talking about our family, and he is.
But we didn't have access to these things. Yeah, seriously. We didn't have access to these things as kids. And when we went, it was kind of like raw dogging it, right? Like you showed up to the park. Oh, and you need reservations now to go to the park. Before, when we were kids, we just
buy a ticket,
show up, walk through,
pack it up,
and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so we went with my kids, great experience, a lot of fun things. But I think the reason why it was so fun for me is because I was finally able to take my kids to Disney for the first time because we grew up going there. And so for a little context, like we grew up in Fort Lauderdale.
Yep.
Actually, Sunrise, Florida. Look it up. It's a thing.
Yeah.
We
don't look it up.
We were probably like a 3-hour drive from Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of our trips were wherever we could drive by car.
Mm-hmm. And if you listen to our last episode, we probably didn't stay. Not our last episode. Cut. If you listen to another one of... cut. If you listen to our episode, We're Not Cousins, We're Brothers, you will find out that a lot of our stays were camping. So we would literally camp at Disney.
Yeah, Fort Wilderness.
Oh.
We would drive up. We would do camping.
I would do camping.
Yeah.
Is he hot?
I mean, you already said raw dog, so let's just do camping, raw dog it. So we would always go to Disney on probably at least 5 times a year.
Mm-hmm.
And what was interesting is we didn't grow up with a lot of money.
Nope.
Sometimes we would just camp at Disney and not actually go to the Disney parks.
Right, yeah. We'd make a vacation just out of camping.
So we would always go to Disney.
We would put the bear in bareback.
We would put the bear in bareback.
In bareback, yeah. We literally would do that. That was super fun. We did that one New Year's, I think. Which is kind of mean because we knew what we were missing. It's not like they hadn't taken us before and we didn't know what we were missing. Yeah. I have my feelings about it.
Yeah. But I feel like we always went to parks when we did go to parks. Like we would park hop all day long.
Yeah, that was another thing.
But I remember some of our best memories were like when there was no line on Space Mountain. We would just go 6 times in a row.
One year we went by ourselves. I think it was the first time that we drove by ourselves. Remember when it was
in
just
high
me?
school.
It was me, you, Carolyn,
Yeah.
Christopher. And we did. We went by ourselves. That was actually a lot of fun.
We drove. We got a hotel. We paid for it ourselves.
The only time we stayed the first time we stayed at a Disney hotel was literally our own money.
Yeah.
Love you, Mom and Dad. No, but going back to what you were saying, which was around taking the kids for the first time and sort of all of our memories. I didn't tell you this, but that going with your children and your parents really ignited a new core memory for me because it did bring back a floodgate of all of the memories that we had growing up. Mm-hmm. It was just a great day to see it through their eyes for the first time.
Yeah.
Which is really worth it. Like with all of the smack that we talked, taking your kids to Disney and sort of seeing that level of entertainment and imagination.
Oh, yeah.
It was really magical.
No, it's pure magic. As much as I don't consider myself a Disney super fan, but you can see it when you bring a kid that it's just so magical, and I feel like that's why it brought us so much happy memories growing up. Because we could talk about stories all day long. Like there was one time, it was to John's earlier point, like these parks were so packed growing up, but they just packed it up. And we lost Carolyn once. We were at Splash Mountain, and we were all just I think huddled, and all of a sudden we turned around. You might remember this. I don't remember this too well.
Gone. I mean, honestly, Brian, I think we were trying to figure something out, and we were collecting...
Oh, yeah, read a map, because that's when they were paper maps.
Paper maps. Yeah, you didn't need to have we didn't even have cell phones.
There was no phone.
There was no phones. Paper map, figuring it out. My sister was watching... Actually, I remember. Carolyn was watching Splash Mountain because it was a newer ride, and this was before it was Tiana. And yes, she was watching the drop. And my mom told her to stay right where she was. But of course, my sister, the inquisitive little bee that she is,
didn't listen.
Buzzed away and, got lost. Straight up.
Things don't change.
Still a lost soul. No, I'm kidding. We love you, Carolyn.
Yeah, so that was another one. What are some other good ones? Memories.
Ooh,
we must have some interesting
we have
things.
a lot. I was actually, some great memories. I wanted to ask you what your favorite ride was. What do you remember being your favorite ride?
My favorite ride growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
I'm just trying to jog a memory.
Yeah, I mean, it's from I think the easy ones for anyone that even just knows Disney, it's totally fine if you don't, like a Thunder Mountain or a Space Mountain or even a Splash Mountain. But I find some of the more whimsical ones are very
the dark rides, like the Winnie the Poohs, the Peter Pans.
I was gonna say Peter Pan's Flight because I like the idea of you're in this boat, you're flying. It was I don't know, that one was a fun one for me
As a kid,
yeah.
I loved Peter Pan growing up.
Yes, the one that I hated the most, and I'll ask you your favorite one, but I really want to just kind of steal the show on my worst ride ever.
Yeah,
Dumbo. I understand why, but if you think about Dumbo today, guys, if you looked it up, it's literally you're in a Dumbo and you're just going in a circle. And the reason why I hate that, it's that's like a traveling carnival ride. And so the fact that Disney has kept it, stood it up, and you have to wait sometimes over an hour to get on that,
especially now that they've created,
to me.
It's bonkers. And now they have two Dumbos side by side, oscillating at the same time. I'm just
But I just remember growing up and never really going on that ride because the line was so long, and we always just forgoed it because kind of stupid.
I think our parents just graduated us to the Astro Orbiter, which is that one in Tomorrowland that spins around. It's the same as Dumbo, but just literally rocket ships and elevated on a platform. But I think they were like, no, this is crap. We're going to take you to this one instead.
What was not your favorite ride, but favorite memory on a ride?
Ooh, that's a good one. Favorite memory on a ride, back in the day, and I think they still do this today, so don't try it. If you do something weird with your face or your hands, the attraction photo that they take, they black it out.
Now they do that.
They used to as well.
Oh.
So I remember the night that we were talking about that the four of us went, that trip, just the four of us when we were teenagers. I think that we had tried to do the year or something with 2 or 1, whatever year it was. I think it was year 2000, to be honest, 20 years ago.
Yeah, that stands.
Tracks. And so I think we tried to do numbers, and they blacked our photo out, so we had to go on again, and that's
Gang
where the picture
symbols.
was. We were throwing straight. We were from South Florida. So that also tracks.
And not white.
Yeah, and Spanish. So they were just who invited the Mexican?
Interesting. I don't know if I remember that.
Yeah. So that was one that I remember. One that I remember, my dad was the worst. I think our dads were the worst. I don't know if your dad ever did this to you, but on the Haunted Mansion, there's a pre-show, which is basically an elevator. It's very well known, I think, in just the space, even if you haven't gone to Disney, but it's this stretching room. And it's a pre-show, and my dad, and it's got this really haunting voice sort of narrating this, whatever, is this room stretching, or is it actually, whatever. And my dad used to horrify me. He used to, and on the ride itself as well.
They always teased us.
Oh, Brian, speaking of Haunted Mansion, what happened when we were with the kids on Haunted Mansion?
Oh, so we brought my kids on the Haunted Mansion. It was one of the last rides of the day, which we were super excited about because it's a quick 15 minutes. It's a little scary for a kid, but kind of cheesy. So to John's point, the room that we used to get taunted by our parents, our kids were a little scary, a little dark, fine. Then it was herding sheep to get on this ride.
Which is the worst.
And then we were on this ride. And again, the kids are not, my kids are pretty strong and brave, but it got stuck. So that 15-minute ride turned into over an hour.
Yeah. It's got stuck multiple times in multiple spots of the ride. Now, with that ride specifically, the music was written so that it could be uncomfortable and sort of a little stressful.
But on repeat.
And it was the loops. We sat in a room that you should just roll through, and we sat in that room for 10 minutes, and the music was only 30 seconds long. So every 30 seconds I couldn't.
Well, and the fun part was my son fell asleep. Yep. So that was actually kind of good. And then I looked at Kenzie, and because Adam's with Kenzie on the ride, and I look, and Kenzie is just on his phone playing a game. So I'm well, at least that's taken care of.
And Brian and I are together just having, obviously we always have fun together, but we're just wait till we get off this ride. What are we going to do?
Yeah. Well, we got off the ride, but right when we got off the ride, my parents and Ollie were still right behind us, and they got stuck again.
Oh my God.
And John queened out and yelled at everyone and basically said, I am calling Walt Disney. And I tapped John on the shoulder and I said, he's dead. And
which is news to me.
So anyways, we got a little diva on them. But it was, I mean, yeah. But I want to backtrack a little bit into like growing up with Disney. Because I wonder, like we always went. It was always like a fun, magical time. But what do you think it did to us from, like, I'm trying to go a little bit deeper here because I feel like it was such a big part of it was such a big part of our life. Like, how did it affect us in, like, as we look ahead?
I don't know if you know this about me, but I often tell people, especially through my work, because I'm a graphic designer by trade, and now I sort of worked up the ranks. But you know what I think about often is when a very visceral moment that I saw a napkin as a child. This was even like with the old Disney logo, like the 80s, 90s Disney World logo. It was more square. I saw a napkin and I was like maybe 5 or 6, and I remember having this internal thought that somebody put that there on purpose.
Okay.
I also remembered on the trash cans where it said thank you. Like as a child, I was picking up on these small little things about it. And in turn, it is like, you know, the level of empathy and compassion that I have for the people that I design for is in that vein where I'm like, somebody's interacting with something, a napkin, it has your logo, like somebody's interacting with something, a trash can, you're disposing of something, why is the trash can thanking you, but it makes you feel good because you've done something. I don't know. Like, it's really impacting me. How about you?
Your career.
What do you imagine?
I go a little darker. I think it sets you up on unrealistic expectations.
No Prince Charming.
Like, it used to be such a magical experience that when you leave the parks as a kid, you were just like, and this is it, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's interesting because you have all this joy for a couple of hours, then you leave and you're back in the real world. And so some people might see that as an escapism. I see that as just setting yourself up for disappointment.
It's true. It's a day that you can skip your meds, you know?
Or double up.
Yeah, just know the next day you're going to be...
I mean, that is true. So when we were at Disney with my kids, we definitely all did a gummy.
Oh, yeah.
Not my kids.
Yeah, no.
Nor my parents. But I think that helped the day a little bit, actually.
Yeah, you're actually not allowed to bring THC into Disney.
So we definitely didn't do that.
Definitely didn't.
But if we did have
we left them in the car in my backpack that was on my back that I took out of the car before we got
at the park.
At the park. No, we definitely took THC gummies, which, you know, it takes the edge off, and for me, it makes me nicer.
Makes me nice. It made me have funner.
Made me have more funner, yes.
No, more funner. More funnest.
More funnest.
I agree.
Because specifically Magic Kingdom is the dry park, right? Whereas
no alcohol.
Epcot has alcohol. I don't drink, but so that's sort of my MO. But at the same time, I know a lot of people enjoy like a beer or a cocktail or something just to get them through, especially Magic Kingdom, which has
a little THC gummy.
A little THC gummy, which was super fun. But the day, that whole trip of taking your children really brought back to life a lot of the things that we experienced as kids ourselves.
I agree.
It was really special, and I love this episode because I know
you love
so
Disney.
Much. Yeah.
I know he's probably going back within the next month, and I probably won't go back for another 5 years.
I'm literally going back next week. I have plans on Sunday. I already have reservations. Remember to make your reservations.
But he's not one of those Disney people.
But I'm not one of those Disney people.
Thanks, guys, for joining.
Yeah, we'll see you.
Subscribe, do all the things.
Find me at Disney.
Yeah, find you at Disney. Bye.
Bye.